How's everybody doing? You can, if you want to, with this stream, it's going to be a slight breakdown of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez because there's a number of things, like I said before, you have to think about when you're talking about this kind of fight. So let's get into it. David Benavidez, he's a body puncher, goes to the body. He has very good, excellent jab. He's flat footed, but he's explosive. Throws a lot of combinations, a lot of flurries. His quick hands. So when we talk about David Benavidez, he's got a lot of wrinkles to his game, uh, like approaching off of angles, cutting off the ring, uh, you know, uh, keeping maintaining distance using his jab or closing distance coming off of the jab. He uses some feints, sometimes uses the shell defense, parry block punches. Solid fighter. Um, can box off the back foot, though he does not box much off the back foot. But as he showed you against, I think it was two opponents, I saw him box off the back foot because they were bigger, stronger guys. So David Benavidez is a fighter who will wear you down, will overwhelm you with punches. He's got some pop, but he doesn't have necessarily one hit or quitter pop. Um, and he's got a great gas tank. He does not tire. His greatest test, I think of is when Gavril fights, where Ronald Gavril dropped him with a check hook. They say it was a jab, but I think it was a check hook. One of the things that Caleb Plant drops a lot of his opponents with. Um, in fact, Caleb Plant has actually a very, very powerful left hook. Once he don't break his hands or anything, once his hands, he ain't got no hand problems. He puts you down with a left hook, and I mean he got one hit or quitter power with the left hook. Now let's talk a little bit about Caleb Plant. Of course, Caleb Plant, he fought Canelo Alvarez. I had him up on the scorecards in round 11. He got caught with a shot, a leaping left hook by Canelo Alvarez. He started to dip to his right to try and protect himself, and Canelo caught him with an uppercut off of that, a right uppercut, I think he threw, which was really interesting. And that caught him, put Caleb down. Caleb didn't go all the way down. He actually propped himself up. He never took a knee. And then after he propped himself up, so he didn't go all the way down. He popped up, which is a cardinal sin you don't do, right? He just popped up like how Zab Judah popped up, and his equilibrium was all over the place. So he staggered around the ring a bit. Canelo jumped on him and finished the job, right? Because his equilibrium was off. It didn't really matter. He was going to go back down again, and the referee was definitely not going to let that fight continue because he was unprepared. Caleb was unprepared to protect himself, so he would have gotten dropped twice anyway. Even if that fight went to the finish line, I don't think that Caleb would have won the fight having been dropped twice. So, it is what it is. That was a cardinal sin. I don't think Caleb will do that ever again. I hope he takes a knee the next time, takes his time, breathes, make sure he gets himself back together, make sure he's back together. The referee will do, one or two things to make you run across the corner. You get time. You understand what I'm saying? Once you get back up on your feet, the referee has to, prop your gloves. He may say go on and commence the fight. And if you're going to commence the fight, there's several different things you should do with the lead hand. You see, there's so much to boxing. So I'm going to break this down really quickly. I'm 4 minutes in. Let me explain something to you guys. I was hearing people saying that Caleb needs to move. He shouldn't stand directly in front of David Benavidez. Now, to be honest with you, that's true. He shouldn't stay directly in front of David Benavidez. But that doesn't mean that you have to take up all that real estate and move all the way around the ring and just keep on moving like crazy. No. The coach, Stephen Bredman Edwards, actually, who is coaching Caleb Plant, I hope, because he coached J-Rock into beating Jarrett Hurd. And how J-Rock did that is he didn't stand in front of Jarrett Hurd. He kept on cutting angles. See, you can cut angles on a fighter in close, that is on the inside. You can cut angles on a fighter on the outside. It's all about footwork. See, in boxing, I'll talk about two guys who cut angles. Now, mind you, David Benavidez does cut angles himself because he cuts off the ring and he dissects the ring down into quadrants, and then he isolates you down a certain quadrant in a certain corner. But I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about angles and what we mean by not standing directly in front of an opponent. Okay, because you see, there's a lot of nuance to boxing, and a lot of people don't know shit about boxing. So they will tell you, well, the first thing he need to do is he need to use the whole entire ring. Don't need to do that against David Benavidez. David Benavidez got flat feet. He's not slow footed, but he's flat footed because he wants to get as much leverage in his punches, which means you can pivot around him. That's the first thing. Okay, second, they said Caleb. Now, mind you, though, David Benavidez does cut angles. I'm not going to front with you guys. He has some interesting angles he cuts to narrow down the amount of movement a fighter has. But if you have certain skills, which Caleb does have, upper body movement, pivot work, he can neutralize that as well. I'll talk about all of this. Y'all will understand what I'm saying in a minute. Let me explain something to people. In fights, you don't have to punch and grab. People talk about punch and grab. You gotta when your opponent's coming to you and there's a big strong opponent like that, you don't want him to get off. So for him not to get off, you have to punch. Maybe throw one or two shots, and then you try to roll to the inside, clinch him up, and lock him up. But let me explain something to you guys. All right. Boxing is about control. Okay. And you will hear me talk about the use of the lead hand all the time, because there are all kinds of tricks you can do with the lead hand. Andre Ward used to use some of them. Floyd Mayweather would use some of them. Sugar Ray Leonard used some of them. Bernard Hopkins used a little bit. Okay, even though not so much. So let me explain to you what I mean. Boxing is about real estate. Who controls it? Somebody's going to control the real estate. And whoever's controlling the real estate, and by real estate I mean the range at which the fight happens. Whoever is controlling the range at which the fight is happening is the guy that's going to control the fight. That's just the way how it goes. Okay? So there are things that certain fighters do, and I'm going to give you a couple little secrets. Maybe if you're a boxer, you can use it to your game. But there are things that fighters do that allow them to control both the tempo of a fight, and most obviously they have to control the range of the fight. They have to control the range before they can control the tempo. Okay, it's about where before when. Where goes before when sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to explain a little something, break down a little bit of boxing to you guys so you guys will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so first things first, okay, the jab. Both guys can jab very well. One guy uses several different kinds of jabs. One guy, he uses a nice strong jab, and he changes the rhythm and timing of his jab. So David Benavidez, he uses particularly a particular type of jab, but he changes the rhythm and the timing of that jab, and he's learning how to perfect that particular jab. It's a pretty strong jab, and it's used particularly to create the range that he wants. So his jab is generally a strong jab, but he changes the speed of it, he changes the timing of it, and he's able to be effective against certain opponents. Okay. Caleb Plant has varied jabs, right? He will use the up jab, he use the spear jab, and he'll use the the power jab. Okay. Sometimes he uses a touch jab, right? So he uses several different kinds of jabs. Sometimes he uses a probing jab out there. He stick a probing jab out there. Now, but the point is, different kinds of jabs are executed at different angles, right? So, like for instance, an up jab, you ain't gonna see that coming because it just pops up and hits you, knocks back your head, for example. Spear jab comes from down low again. So there are different kinds of jab, okay? Now, Caleb is, I would suggest this. Caleb is probably the more skilled fighter of the two. He's also the more experienced fighter of the two, okay? But let me explain something to you guys so you'll understand a little bit about boxing, all right? I'm 9 minutes in. I'm probably going to wrap this up very quickly. One, you don't need to keep a fighter's hands at home by clinching alone. and locking them up. That's a strategy, but it's not the only one. One of the ways to keep a fighter's hands at home, very simply, is to control the range at which that fighter fights. So, for example, David Benavidez, he fights from the outside, with his jab, but he really want to get close enough to you to throw his combinations. In other words, David Benavidez is mostly a mid-range fighter. He uses his jab to get mid-range to throw off his shots. Okay. He also fights a little bit on the inside. Okay. Now, let me explain something to you guys. Right. If you keep David Benavidez just outside his range and you step into his range off of feints and you throw your jab and you step around him. So I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but it's not no big set of stepping, okay? It's an angle. You're pivoting. And pivots is a very important thing in boxing. There are all kinds of pivots. There's all kinds of angles of pivots, right? But what you want to do with a guy who has a good jab, but he does most of his work on the inside or at mid-range, is you want to deny him his sweet spot. You want to deny him the range at which he works best at. You don't mind if you get hit with a shot from the outside. You don't mind if you get hit with a shot deep on the inside. But the thing you don't want to do is get hit with shots at mid-range. David Benavidez does most of his best work at mid-range. Okay? Caleb Plant doesn't have, I think David Benavidez has the longer reach. I think so. Caleb Plant has a slightly shorter reach. I think Caleb Plant and David Benavidez are around the same height, so they're about the same size. So it's not that David Benavidez, of course, David Benavidez probably blows up to 200-something pounds, maybe 190-something pounds coming into the fight, whereas Caleb Plant would be somewhere around maybe 170-something, 180-something, right? But nonetheless, they're going to come in the fight. David Benavidez will be the physically bigger guy. Doesn't mean he's the stronger guy. That doesn't mean that. But he's the physically bigger guy. And Caleb Plant might be the physically smaller guy. Okay? Now, remember, strength is different to power. And size does not necessarily mean you are stronger than another guy. Okay? It doesn't really... It's and even if you are stronger than the other guy, it's about fighting. So fighting in boxing, it's about, can you fight or can you not fight? Because if a guy could be smaller than me, I might be stronger than him, and he'd whoop my ass. You know what I'm saying? Because he know what he's doing. Because he fights. He know how to fight. So it's not about size and strength and all those things. It's about, can you fight? All right. So let me explain what stepping around is. Angles, okay? Caleb don't have to stand in front. Okay, you know who's a guy who don't stand in front of opponents, but they think he is, and he's still walking them down? Errol Spence. Errol Spence wasn't standing directly in front of the Cuban kid. I can't remember his name right now, who beat Manny Pacquiao. He never stood directly in front of him. He was firing off shots at angles to the side of him. He would always step around him. J. Rock Williams versus Jarrett Hurd. He was stepping around Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd had to try and step around with him, and that's how he was landing his shots. It's the same thing Caleb Plant basically had to do. Whether he's on the inside of David Benvidez, or whether he's on the outside of David Benvidez, or whether he's at mid-range of David Benvidez, he needs to step around him. And when I say step around a fighter, you don't have to be doing a whole set of stepping. Let me explain. I'm gonna show you all a little bit of what I mean. Okay, so for example, this is me here. See the ground right here? All right, you can see the ground on my feet, right? See my feet? All right, I'm in a boxing stance with my feet right now, okay? Comfortable boxing stance, right? I'm gonna turn myself this way so you can see it. So I'm in a boxing stance right now, right? With my feet. Look how easy the step around is. Ready? So I'm gonna go this away, okay? I'm gonna step around. You know what? I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna make this super easy for you guys. So you can see me here, right? Now when you see what you see in there is a cooler, right? You see the cooler right there? You see my feet right here? Okay. I'm gonna make it super easy for you guys. My opponent is right. I'm right now directly in front of my opponent. I don't want to be directly in front of my opponent at any time. At any time. Okay? Especially if he's set. If he planted his feet. I don't want him to plant his feet at all. I want him to be always a step behind me. So what I do, I just step around him like that. You got it? Look how easy that was. I'm gonna show you again. Look how easy it is. This is my opponent right here, right? He's looking at me here. He's coming at me. But I don't want to be directly in front of him. So when he throws his jab, I want to step around that jab right here. And I'm going to constantly actually be stepping around him. So I'm here. I'm at the side of him here. Or I step around right here and I step around him here. You see what I'm saying? I want you guys to see it though. But I'm never directly in front of him here. I don't want to ever be directly in front of him. I want to be either to the side of him here, or I want to be on this side of him here. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm either here, or I'm here. Okay, I crossed my feet. I'm not supposed to do that. Okay, so I'm just saying, you have to understand that. That's boxing. Okay, that's what J. Rock Williams was doing. He was turning Jarrett Hurd all the time and landing shots on him. Jarrett Hurd would turn into the shots. That's what we call stepping around your opponent. Now, stepping around your opponent would have to do with range. So let's say I'm on the outside of my opponent now. So you see my feet? You see where my opponent's feet is? My opponent's way over there, and I'm way over here, okay? So since I'm on the outside here, I don't want to be directly in front of him. But that doesn't mean I need to make a big movement all the way out here. I don't have to step all the way around here and step all the way and make a big circle. No. Let me show you how easy it is, okay? So here he is right there. I'm just going to take a little step. So I'm going to step in like this and step like this. I'm going to step in, just small steps, okay? And that makes me step around my opponent, still maintaining range. Sometimes I reset. Maybe I shuffle, I circle out, and I reset. And those are the little tricks to boxing. Okay, let me show you another thing. So let's talk a little bit about something else. So you can control the range and keep your opponent from throwing punches or restrict the punch output of your opponent by controlling range. Particularly, you need to know what's the range at which your opponent prefers to get his shots off, his best. Where does he perform his best at? And if you know he's a mid-range to inside fighter, then you want to limit his boxing output by staying on the outside, for example. But when you get to the inside, you never stand directly in front of him. And you don't stand in front of him. You just don't stand. You're always moving your feet. Even if it's small little steps, little steps like this. See? Little steps like this. Like this. Little pivots. Okay? You don't want to be standing in front of him. Okay. Now the next thing is, see, boxing is a beautiful sport. Use of the lead hand. Now, I just talked to you guys about jabbing. Usually, people say the jab is the most important punch in boxing. I don't say that. I'm a proponent of the lead hand. So, the lead hand may not be the jab. It might be a lead hook. It might be a lead right hand. All right? Depending. But here's the thing. It's about the lead hand and what the lead hand's doing. And what I want to tell you guys is, they don't tell you about this stuff, but I'm going to say it. The lead hand is the closest hand to your opponent. And you have to learn to use the lead hand for more than just punching and feinting a punch. You have to learn to use the lead hand to control your opponent. Did you hear what I said? I'm going to say it again. Because this is some subtle shit that inside fighters know about this. Okay, inside fighters have to use their lead hand to jostle things out of position, to move your opponent's protection. So, you know, if opponent has a guard, they'll move the guard out the way. You can use the forearm, okay? You can use the glove, but you're not using the glove to punch. You're using the glove to push your opponent's hand out the way so you can land a shot on him, okay? You can use it to occupy your opponent, so you stick your hand out in front of your opponent's face, or to keep his lead hand at home, you touch your opponent's glove so he can't let off his punches. Or you can literally maneuver your opponent's body using the lead hand. You kind of lock him underneath his elbow, or underneath his elbow, and you move his body with you. Okay? So there's all these little tricks. I could talk about numerous veteran moves and tricks. It's called the craft of boxing, where the forearms and lead hands are used. It's not just used for blocking shots, it's not just used for punching, but it's used to manipulate your opponent and keep his hands at home. You heard what I said? Keep your opponent's hand. No, I don't care how aggressive your opponent is. Your opponent has to stay in balance. Meaning, if I throw the opponent off balance by hooking his hand, I catch his hand. You know, Canelo sometimes would catch his opponent's hand with his lead hand or with his other hand, his backhand, and pull his opponent to him, throwing his opponent off balance. They could pivot out the way and land a shot on his opponent. Okay? So there are all these little tricks of the trade. Sometimes somebody throw a punch. You catch the punch underneath your lead hand or whatever hand you have. You catch the punch underneath here, and you pull your opponent to you, and then you counter with a punch. Okay? See, because in boxing, it's not just about punching your opponent. Okay? There's all these subtle little things you got to learn in the sport. So it's not just about closing the distance and grabbing your opponent. Okay? You can manipulate your opponent. And again, that's why you see Floyd using the lead hand. He collapsed the lead hand. Errol Spence used it too to take away his opponent's shots. And he stayed off center, meaning he's to the side of his opponent. So he's on the side of his opponent where his opponent can't hit him, so his opponent can't get no shots off. And he's controlling the hand that could hit him with the forearm. So it keeps that hand from coming off. So that's how you can control the output of your opponent. Okay. So I said all of this to say Stephen Breadman Edwards is in the corner of Caleb Plant. And I believe that's the deciding factor of this fight. I think Caleb Plant's going to beat David Benvidez. And I know David Benvidez looks in impeccable shape, the best shape I've ever seen him in. But you can't throw them combinations if you can't even get your shots off. And I think Stephen Breadman Williams has studied David Benvidez, and he knows exactly what Caleb Plant needs to do with the arsenal that Caleb Plant has to beat David Benvidez. So I decided I would break it down for you guys so you guys would understand why I picked Caleb Plant to win and why you hear a lot of high-profile people saying that they expect Caleb Plant to beat David Benvidez. David Benvidez. Now there's one thing though. There's one thing I'm worried about. But I know Stephen Breadman Williams will make sure that gets dealt with. And that was that Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant starts off fast, but he does tire in the later rounds. And even though against Canelo, he wasn't really tiring anything, there was two things I didn't like. Caleb Plant was allowing Canelo to lock him up and land spleen shots on him all night long. It were arm punches, but Canelo punched hard. Okay? Now, the round before that, Canelo did catch Caleb Plant with a beautiful left hook to the body. After Caleb Plant had landed a nasty left hook to Canelo's body. They traded left hooks kind of like. Not in the same time, but I'm just saying. And I know that took some wind out of the Caleb Plant sails. And I'm saying, Caleb Plant, I hope your conditioning's on point so you can take some body punches from David Benvidez, because that's what he do. David Benvidez lands body shots. He a body worker, just like any Mexican fighter. But if Caleb does what I think he's going to do, which is what Dimitri Bivol does, is maintain range, keep the jab, throw combinations off the jab while pivoting and moving your feet, David Benvidez will never get to set. He will be trying to cut off the ring. And even when he does corner Caleb Plant has the defense to kind of roll with the punches and ride punches. So I'm not too worried about that. I hope he has a neutralization for David Benvidez catching his jab and then landing that spleen shot on it. Because Canelo was clever enough to hyperextend Caleb Plant's jab and land that nasty spleen shot on him continuously throughout the fight. And Caleb had no answer for that. He made no adjustment. And I hope he has an adjustment for that, because definitely David Benvidez will try that. He definitely will try that. But David Benvidez is a hell of a fighter. Good boxer. He's actually a boxer as well. Aggressive boxer, but he's a boxer. The interesting thing will be if Caleb Plant can get David Benvidez in an uncomfortable position. Meaning, I don't care how much David Benvidez comes. I don't even care if You can take all of Caleb Plant's punches. My thing is this: does Caleb Plant ensure that David Benavidez is constantly a step behind him? That's the important thing in this fight. So there are two things that bother me. Caleb Plant in his fight with Canelo, besides his lack of experience, you should have, even though you get knocked down, you're supposed to, not pop back up. The other thing was he was allowing Canelo to beat on him with the spleen shots. Particularly, he got free shots to the spleen, and Canelo punches hard, even if it's arm punches. So that was something that kind of bothered me. He did get caught with in a trade with Canelo with a body shot that he said transferred into the 11th round. David Benavidez is a body puncher, man. That's what a dude do. So you better have your body in really good shape, and you should, in fact, get more intense and pick up the pace or should I say, get more intense and more in control and more dominant as the fight goes on if your condition is on point. Because tempo, David Benavidez is a high tempo fighter. Okay, he's a high tempo fighter. He has a lot of intensity, brings a lot of pressure. However, so he thrives best when the tempo is high, when he can get the pressure to mount. And David Benavidez feels he's counting on the pressure that he brings to finally break Caleb make a mistake, and then he can capitalize on. This is what David Benavidez is going on. That's all he's got in his game. That's all he's gonna bring. Okay. He's going. What I mean is he's got nuance and stuff to him. Don't get it twisted. But he don't bring nothing really. You know what David Benavidez brings to the table. You know what he's gonna do when he goes in there. He's gonna walk down the fighter or try to walk down the fighter. If he got to box off the back foot, he would try and box off the back foot. But his intention is to walk down the fighter, use his jab, push them back, land body punches, combinations, get him out of there eventually. Break him down, get him out of there, right? That's David Benavidez' game plan. That's basically it. I love that David Benavidez, and he got a lot of heart. He got a lot of skill. He's very good at what he does. But that ain't Canelo, right? Canelo's a counterpuncher. Canelo brings a lot to the table. David Benavidez counterpunches a bit. Don't get it twisted, but I'm saying Canelo brings a lot to the table. Canelo brings special effects. He brings illusions. He brings a lot of stuff. And even then, Caleb Plant was frustrating him in that fight. Canelo couldn't figure out how to get him out of there. All right? So anyway, I think that Stephen Bradman Edwards, I think that there's still questions in my mind about Caleb Plant. So we'll get those questions answered in this fight. Because even with Anthony Durrell was landing his licks on Caleb Plant. I'm not saying that Caleb Plant's soft. I think David Benavidez landing punches on Caleb Plant is not going to necessarily wear him down. But I do worry about him slowing down in the later rounds. And even if you do slow down, the question is, do you have the defense? Do you have the angles? Do you have the fundamentals and defense to make sure that even if you do slow down, you can still handle the situation and stay on top of it? Because it's not about speed. It's not about none of that. It's about timing, right? So we're going to see, and that's why I wanted to break it down, because we're going to see if David Benavidez is going to come out triumphant in this situation, because he's counting on Caleb Plant's tank to run out of gas as he breaks him down to the body, as he puts that pressure on him, and as he increases the tempo as the fight goes along, the intensity. This is what he's hoping. Of course, Caleb Plant got something to say. The other thing that David Benavidez is going to learn really quick in this fight is if he slips up with Caleb Plant is going to light him up with that left hook. Okay, so David Benavidez needs to be mindful of Caleb Plant's left hook, because Caleb Plant does have a hell of a left hook. All right, and he'll put David Benavidez on his ass. I don't think he will knock out David Benavidez, because David Benavidez is young, he's strong. He's not Anthony Durrell. Durrell's like at the end of the line. He's young, he's strong. I didn't see Caleb Plant do anything to Canelo. You know what I'm saying? He had a good jab. He was starting to land some good body punches. But so David Benavidez will look at that and say, he didn't do nothing to Canelo. He ain't gonna do nothing to me, right? And David Benavidez is in ridiculous shape. Just don't walk through them shots, because Caleb got a good jab. And I'm saying right now, I'm gonna let the record know he got a good left hook. Okay, he does have a good. He's time and time again put down guys stepping to him thinking he don't got no power. So David Benavidez need to respect that left hook. Uh, and he should be okay. He should be in the game. We know what David Benavidez brings though. So if Caleb Plant uses his footwork, if he uses the pivot skills that I know he has, because it's all down to the feet. It's not the hands. The feet get you in position to throw shots. Caleb got quicker feet than David Benavidez, and he has more educated feet than David Benavidez. Don't get me wrong, David Benavidez cut some good angles, but his feet too fucking slow for Caleb Plant. So Caleb Plant will get in position easier than David Benavidez, in my opinion. Okay? So he could outmaneuver, he should outmaneuver David Benavidez. He should also be able to control him and keep his hands at home when he wants him to keep his hands at home, and so on. Like I told you guys, you don't have to clinch up a guy to make his hands stay at home. It's all about the real estate. It's all about your lead hand. Whichever lead hand you're using, you might use both as lead hands. You may use both. You may have two educated hands, in which case you can control a guy. I've seen Floyd control a guy with both his hands. I've seen him control Manny Pacquiao with both his hands. Okay? He blocked shots from Manny Pacquiao, and then he pushed Manny Pacquiao's both hands back. Okay, you can also use your shoulder to nudge a guy, as James Toney was saying. I tell you, all these veteran moves. You nudge the guy and then you land the right hand on him. Okay, sometimes it's not even about throwing punches. It's about it's about how you execute your body in space on another guy's body. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna demonstrate another thing. I'm gonna take this camera stand here. Okay. You're looking down at, let me see if I can get it. There it is. Oh, it's kind of low. I'm going to drop levels here. I'm going to go on my knees. See the camera stand right there? All right, so I'm going to show you what I mean by manipulate an opponent. So this camera stand here, you see my hand right here? Okay. So I can take my forearm here. All right? I'm putting this against, camera stands like my opponent's neck. So my hand is in by my opponent's neck. Now, if I just press a little bit on his neck, I'm pushing him back this way, okay? I'm throwing him off balance, okay? And then I step around him, and I just nudge him. I nudge him off balance just enough so I could come from here and throw my left hook to his body. Huh. You see what I'm saying? Because he off balance just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's the trick. Boxing is all about tricks. Sometimes you put your forearm down low, and you got your forearm, depending if you're using the shell, you got your forearm up underneath your opponent's ribs, right? And you just nudge that forearm into their ribs, and you pivot on it, and that pushes up their protected hand. If their hands are up here, it nudges the hand back this way. It nudges the protective hand back this way. If they got their hands down low, it nudges their protective arm outwards. So you got their ribs right there exposed, and then you don't do no big shot. It's all subtle. You throw a little stab in there. No big set of punching. A little stab in there. I take a little juice out of them. Okay. So you know. No. Yeah. So there's all these subtle little things in boxing that they don't. You got to watch it. You got to watch the boxing fight to see all these little things. How a guy drain another guy. How he take a little energy out of him. That's what Floyd do to opponents. That's how he sucks some life out of guys. And it's the same thing Caleb Plant could do to David Benvidez. He showed him some veteran moves inside of there. And David might be aware of some of these things. Okay? Because if he's in for it in any kind of way, he'd be aware of some of these things. But I just decided to open the door of boxing a little bit more to the casual fan, the fans out there that maybe never boxed before or whatever. There's all these little things that they do inside of boxing that take away your opponent offense because you want to disarm him. Caleb wants to disarm David Benvidez. David Benvidez got a lot of hype behind him. He'd be looking like a monster, but against who? Who has he been fighting? What veteran fighter did he face? Okay, Anthony Durrell. Good. He's a all right fighter, but Caleb Plant fought Canelo. He fought Canelo. Veteran of veteran fighters, all kinds of little tricks up his sleeve. Okay? So I'm saying this to say the experience plays a major key, especially if you act on it and you work on it. Of course, the fundamentals of boxing are also very important. Now, what does David Benavidez have going for him in this fight? Because I picked Caleb Plant to win, yes, but we can't talk about it. He's an incredible young fighter. David Benavidez, what is he, 24, 25 years old? He's very, very young. Um, this guy's doing exceptionally well. This experience with Caleb Plant, win, lose, or draw, is going to be a great experience for David Benavidez. And I'm glad that he accepts all challenges because he wants to better himself. So maybe this is not his time. This is how I see it. But he's going to learn a lot from this experience that will carry him further. That's how I look at it. Now, let me tell you what David Benavidez brings to the table that's really beautiful about him. I said he cuts angles. All right? David Benavidez is not your typical Mexican fighter in the sense that he literally, this dog, and even his brother to some degree, Jose Benavidez, they cut angles. What I mean by that is they understand what boxers do and how they use angles, and so they use other angles. So one here's a jokey thing about the situation. Caleb may not stand directly in front of David Benavidez, but guess what? David Benavidez may not stand directly in front of Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? Chris Oriol says, unfortunately, I have Benavidez. Hey, man. So we're going to talk about David Benavidez because he does have little wrinkles to his game that people actually overlook because he's been mowing down everybody. And the boy can box. The boy can box. David Benavidez can box. He can bang, but he can box. And he's systematic in how he breaks down his opponents. Okay? Been working on the jab for a minute. Now, one of the things that's going for David Benavidez is his size. On the inside, I want to see David Benavidez wear down Caleb Plant. You don't have to clinch him, but put your body weight down on him. Use your forearms and press him down with the forearm. Okay? Because you're bigger. So use your size to your advantage. You don't have to be stronger than Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant might be stronger than you. But make him use his strength. Make him deplete his energy. Let's see how good his conditioning really is. Another thing. If Caleb Plant goes in for the clinch, David Benavidez should clinch him up and then put his body weight down on him. Make him work for being in the clinch. Don't let Caleb Plant relax at any time in the fight if that's his strategy. If your strategy is just to punch and clinch, then guess what? I'm going to make you work for being in the clinch. You see what I'm saying? Another thing that David Benavidez has going for him, besides his size, is his hand speed. He's got incredible hand speed. He throws combinations very well, but there's a science to what he does. He doesn't just throw hands for throw hands' sake. He works off his jab. That's the fundamentals. He got the fundamentals down. And as I said before, David Benavidez does not cut angles. David Benavidez, actually, he's also a similar fighter to Errol Spence and all of these pressure fighters like Errol Spence. Costa Tszyu is more of a counter puncher. Costa Tszyu will initiate, he will bait and counter to get on the inside, kind of like Roberto Duran. Whereas with David Benavidez, he might do some of that, but David Benavidez actually comes off an angle like Errol Spence. He don't come directly to you. He's coming off an angle with his jab. And that's beautiful because Caleb Plant now, he going to have to offset that. Now, is David Benavidez a rhythm fighter? Not necessarily. But if you have a good jab, as Ronald Gravel showed, that makes the fight with David Benavidez so much more difficult. Because the other thing about David Benavidez, he's not, like I said before, David Benavidez is not necessarily a one-hitter quitter kind of puncher, right? But like Errol Spence, he break you down. And he's a good body puncher. All right? Very good body puncher. Caleb Plant not only has to protect his body, but he better have his body in good shape because he's going to take some body punching. David Benavidez, if he gets into the range as he needs to get, which he will at some point in the fight, he will get into range. I think that David Benavidez will be landing some body shots on Caleb Plant. That's what he do. His forte is body work. So these are some of the things that I think are beautiful. As I said before, David Benvidez, he's a boxer. He's a boxer pressure fighter. He's not if he's coming after you, he's coming sideways. He's either using the extended arm or he's using the shell. He hardly uses the high guard. You want to see David Benavidez coming at you with a high guard, you know. But he comes with the shell, or he comes with the shell, or he comes with the extended guard, using the probing jab, coming off an angle, and he's coming at you. All right. So these are some of the things that you need to know. He cuts off the ring pretty well. He divides the ring into quadrants, and he'll narrow it down. Canelo has a different way of cutting off the ring. David Benavidez has an interesting way, because he's coming off an angle. You don't realize he's pushing you in a certain direction. He wants you to circle a certain way. So the way how Caleb Plant circles in that ring, to offset that, or if Caleb, I'm going to show you all something again. All right, I'm going to use this fan here. Okay? You see that? See that there? Where is it? All right, this fan, okay? So this is me here. This is going to be hard to demonstrate. I can't demonstrate this. The fan need to move too. But it is all about rhythm. See? If you got off rhythm, see, Caleb do something interesting. Because, see, boxing's like dancing. It's like dancing. Now, yeah, something that people say, David Benavidez is a very big guy for super middleweight. David Benvidez probably coming at super middleweight on fight night, maybe close to 200 pounds. Caleb Plant, 180, right? So, he going to be bigger. So that's why I said he has to use his size to his advantage in this fight. If Caleb Plant want to come in close, David Benvidez should use his size to wear down Caleb Plant. Get him in a clinch. Clinch him up, push him up against the ropes and clinch on him. Or pull the ropes and press his weight down on him. Things like that. Rough up Caleb Plant. Because, Caleb Plant's a boxer. So sometimes you got to be a little dirty in there. David Benavidez got to be a little dirty in there. Throw some elbows and rough him up a bit. You know what I'm saying? If Caleb Plant's kind of started to, outmaneuver him, you better try to roughen him up. Bigger Cotto picked up Floyd Mayweather and slammed him. Sometimes you got to body slam Caleb Plant. Sometimes you have to, Caleb Plant about to spin out. He about to spin out from the ropes. Grab the ropes with one hand to keep him from coming out the side that he wanted to spin out. You know what I'm saying? When Caleb Plant dipped the spin out, trip him. You got to be dirty. You got to be a little dirty in there. Because Caleb's slippery. He's slippery and he can maneuver. I was going to show you guys something that boxers do. So one of the things that boxers do, and they're circling you, can't show my feet. I want to show my feet so bad. But they do what is called a shuffle. So let me see if I can somehow do this. I want to show you it, but it's hard to show you, especially with this screen. The screen's so narrow. But I'm gonna show you something, right? So here I am, right? So let's say I'm gonna bounce. So I'm circling this way, right? Okay. So I'm circling this way. And I do this. I do a bounce like this, and then I go back to circling this way. So sometimes a fighter, he will circle this way. Caleb can circle either way in the ring. So if Caleb's circling this way, for example, and then he does something like this, and then he continues to go this way, or he does something like this, and then he circles this way, he could change. See, he could change the direction and therefore the quadrant in which he's in. You understand what I'm saying? That's the hard thing. See, the thing with boxers like Caleb is they're very unpredictable. They attack you when your guard's a little bit down. Like you may be attacking them and then they just counterpunch you. Or you may be attacking them and then they just jab you to the body or pivot out. And as they're pivoting out, as they're doing the defensive maneuver, they throw some offense in there, check hook you or whatever, And so that's the thing you have to understand, because it's, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Everything is in the feet. You can't do nothing in boxing if you can't move properly. Okay? And both guys have their strong points and they both have weak points. Okay? But it's all about the footwork in boxing. Because it's your feet that gets you to where you need to be to do what you need to do. Yes, the upper body movements are also important. A complete boxer can do everything. He can pressure a fighter. He can box off the back foot. He can make you come get him. He can counterpunch you. He can lead, right? A boxer can do all those things, but to be able to do all those things, you have to have the footwork to do them, right? Yes, you have to be able to move your upper body as well. To Yes, and as Chris Ariel said so correctly, you have to be economical. You're not wasting a whole set of energy, which means you have to come in there calm. Now, David Benvidez, he a young guy, so he could blow a lot of energy. But like I said before, David Benavidez, he is extremely well conditioned. Um, he is uh uh he's got good size. He's got good fundamentals. Um, he got good pressure. But against a guy like Caleb, he custom made for a guy like Caleb. Counter punchers, even Canelo was custom made for Caleb Plant. I maintain this. Caleb Plant should have beaten Canelo. If that fight went the distance, maybe the judges wouldn't have given it to Caleb, but I had Caleb ahead. I'm just telling y'all. Fighters, pressure, the greatest matchups in boxing are when the pressure fighter is facing the boxer. Okay? The outboxer particularly. It's the bull and the matador, right? Sometimes the matador loses, but most of the time the matador wins. This is the same thing. This is the classical bull versus the matador. The bull is David Benavidez. He's feared because he keeps on knocking out everybody. We're gonna see if he's that guy at this moment in time, right? And we're going to see if Caleb Plant can control the bull. That's the question. I don't know if he can. But I pick him because 9 out of 10 times the Matador wins at that elite level. Sugar Ray versus Marvin Hagler. Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. Floyd Mayweather versus Miguel Cotto. Floyd Mayweather versus, that's Floyd. We got boxers like Pernell Whitaker, Dimitri Bivol. You ask yourself the question: Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. Who's gonna win? I got Bivol all day, every day. All day, every day. So I'm not saying that Caleb Plant's of that caliber necessarily, but he showed me enough against Canelo to convince me that David Benavidez, though he's younger, though he's stronger, so he's more energetic, though he's got more activity, doesn't necessarily mean that will translate to that in this fight. But he's hungry, and he wants it, and he wants to prove himself, prove to everybody that he's that guy. So he got the hunger, he got the fire under his belt, he got the age. David Benavidez got it all except experience. And I think some of them subtle things I just told y'all, he don't have. And I just think that Caleb got that now. He didn't have it before, but he got it now because that Canelo fight is definitely not going to make him better. Definitely going to make him better because there's little tricks Canelo did in there that Caleb's now put in his tool bag. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. So, and Caleb Plant got Stephen Breadman Williams in his corner. I know a lot of people are picking David Benavidez because the Mexican monster, lots of knockouts. Caleb's not this big flashy knockout artist like that. Caleb's everybody's thinking that Caleb's a wuss. He's weak, and Caleb's not weak. He's not a wuss. So most people gonna pick Benavidez because he seems more. But the seasoned professionals, the guys, you listen to Jamal Charlo and Jamel Charlo, they pick Caleb Plant. Guys like Sean Porter, he picks Caleb Plant to win. Right? You listen, just watch the professionals out there. They're gonna say Caleb Plant is the guy they picked to win. Bernard Hopkins picked Caleb Plant to win. He ain't got a dog in the race, but he picked Caleb because Caleb's of the school of these guys. Now Canelo's of that school too. And David Benavidez to a less extent because he never demonstrated enough because he didn't have the opponent in front of him to show that. is also a bit of that school, but not as much as Caleb. And Caleb got more experience than you understand what I'm saying? He got more experience than David Benvidez. That's why I picked my pick. I wanted to explain my pick to everybody. I wanted to explain my pick to everybody so that y'all would understand. And even then, Canelo had a difficult time with Caleb Plant. He had a very difficult. He was very frustrated. He said to his trainer, "Man, I don't know, man. I don't know." And his trainer was like, "Just stay with it. Stay with it. Stick with the plan, right? Because Canelo fight flat-footed now, and so Caleb was able to outmaneuver him, and he could stay in the pocket, and Canelo would be throwing a whole bunch of shots on Caleb, and Caleb would just be catching it and rolling it and riding them shots, coming back with his shots. You know what I mean? So Caleb been there, seen that he could handle Canelo. He not looking at David Benavidez like David Benavidez, is better than Canelo. He don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, David Benavidez is a big boy, but that don't mean nothing. He got a lot of experience still. But like I said before, there are certain things in Plant's game. I hope he is changed. I hope he's changed. So because this is his time, this is his opportunity to get a rematch with Canelo and show that he really is the goods that he shows. You know what I'm saying? Chris Oriel says, "Saul fight is what I expected. He's gonna do better. If you fight the best, focus, Plant, wrestle." Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think that Caleb Plant need to do the clinch game too much, but he does have to use it at some point in the game. You pull out all your stops to do your thing. For David Benavidez, he need to be dirty. He need to fight a dirty fight to try and get in Caleb Plant head somehow, some way. You might get penalized a point, but it's to get Caleb Plant. You need to get Caleb Plant to sort of lose his cool. I want to get back, and Caleb will indulge him. He'll indulge him. They'll trade a bit. It'll be a firefight in certain spots, but I don't expect Caleb to just go out there and be guns blazing and all of that. I don't expect that. Now, so I was just saying these things to enlighten people that boxing has a lot more to it than meets the eye, and so there are little tricks of the trade and little things, veteran fighters do that I hope Benvidez and Caleb Plant will show us a little bit. Chris Oriel says Plant has to be a dog. Again, I don't. It's all about control for me. You could be a dog. Lots of guys are dogs. Shakur Stevenson, he could be a nasty dog too, but you gotta have controlled aggression in fights. A guy who can really fight, he don't fight angry. He fight control. And once he size up his opponent and everything, then he starts to crash. You crash an opponent. That's how you do it. You got to play chess, not checkers. Benvidez, he throw a lot of punches, and that's cool. But you can get countered in between those shots. I'm just saying. I don't know if Caleb will be able to do that. He might, because of the shell defense that he may use. So I'm just saying, keeping cool and collective. The other thing I noticed is Caleb don't go to the body enough. He need to go to the body even more in these fights. How he knocked out Darrell was he tapped him to the body first, and then he came over the top with the left hook. So these are things that, again, are important things. I hope David Benavidez. David Benavidez has great offense. He's not the most solid defensively, but and Caleb will definitely show those defensive holes. But still, at the same time, David Benvidez he got good defense. Don't get it twisted. Don't let too many space to Benvidez. It's just about range. So Benvidez is more mid-range. He's not really an inside fighter. He's more a mid-range fighter like Gennady Golovkin. Benvidez loves to war. He likes to rumble. He's tough. He can take a punch. So these are the things that you have to, think about when you're talking about David Benvidez. He's strong. He's sturdy. But that doesn't mean that Caleb can't beat his ass. Of course, Caleb going, if David Benvidez is not careful, he can get, like I said before, Caleb Plant could drop him, I think. Because he's got a solid left hook. He not the hardest puncher. He's kind of like Andrew Ward. He's not the hardest puncher in the world. But, if you make a mistake, he'll drop you. You know what I mean? And it could get in my head on the scorecards and stuff like that. I don't see Caleb Plant stopping David Benvidez. I heard somebody say Caleb will stop David Benvidez late. I don't see that happening. But I do see Caleb Plant it's possible he could drop David Benavidez if David Benavidez is not careful. He's done it a number of times to a number of guys. Okay, and it just comes out of the blue. Even though Anthony Durrell fight where he knocked out clean. I mean, that was a cold knockout. And I tell you, Caleb Plant got a good left hook. He got a good left hook. And he got a good right hand too. He's got decent pop. When I was listening to my boy, what's his name? I forgot his name right now. I had him on the channel once. Can't remember his name right now. He's actually at the 168-pound division as well. He sparred Caleb Plant, and he said Caleb Plant punched harder than David Benavidez. Mama's boy. He wasn't on my program, but it's another guy I was thinking about. But when it comes to me, Mama's boy said Caleb Plant punched harder than David Benavidez when he sparred both of them. He said David throw a lot of combinations, but Caleb actually hit harder than David. Just for you guys to know, just for the record, y'all need to know this is a good fight. But I think Caleb gonna take it. I think David gonna learn a lot from it. And David, once you bring your best foot forward, David Benavidez, that's all that matters. Give it your best shot. Even if you do come up short, if you don't come up short, that's great. That means, you was supposed to get the Canelo fight. Now you gonna get the Canelo fight. But if you come up short, don't feel how about it. You're young, you're learning. You got a very experienced fighter in front of a much more experienced fighter than you who fought Canelo. So again, there are no losers here. You know what I'm saying? This is a good fight, and a lot of times people, put too much on a fighter losing. Losing their it's a learning experience for boxers. Caleb lost his O against Canelo. Canelo lost his O against Floyd. He recently lost to David Benavidez, right? I'm sorry, my bad. Dimitri Bivol. It happens, okay? Now, some fighters, they want to finish their career undefeated, but then they lose. So what? You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't finish their career undefeated, And I prefer a fighter. I prefer a fighter who's fought people, who suffered a loss, than a guy's undefeated for his entire career and fought absolutely nobody. He avoided the fighters who, could have beefed up his resume. I'm gonna say this, y'all gonna call me a hater, but I don't care. Gennady Triple G Golovkin had the opportunity to face Erislandy Lara to defend his WBA championship belt. Erislandy Lara is 39 years old. Triple G's 40. And this dude don't got nobody on his resume. He got what? He got 2 A-level fighters on his resume. The two, at least at the time, Danny Jacobs, was an A-level fighter. Later became IBF champion. And Canelo Alvarez. This is the only 2 A-level fighters Gennady Golovkin has on his resume. In terms of champions, he got David Lemieux, and he got what's the guy name? The Australian guy. I forgot his name now. That fought Miguel Cotto. Okay, so you only got 4 champs, four champs, former, present, maybe a little bit more. Maybe you got 5 or 6 champs in your whole entire career, man. Come on, and don't tell me people was ducking you. You had the opportunity to face Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo, Erislandy Lara is calling you out since God knows when. I don't like that, man. And they want to say he a Hall of Famer because he got all these knockouts. I know y'all gonna say I'm hating on Gennady Golovkin, but I don't care. This dude have been feeding off the media frenzy. Canelo get a bad name because of this dude. It's just not right, man. It's not right. Canelo proved himself. He one of the greats. You know what I'm saying? He fought everybody. You know what I'm saying? All right, he ain't faced Jamal Charlo. He ain't faced David Benavidez. He faced Caleb Plant. Now, y'all said, now here's the thing. Y'all said Caleb Plant was weak competition. So what happens if Caleb Plant beats David Benavidez? Everybody be saying David Benavidez is the baddest boy. So what happens if Caleb Plant beats David Benavidez? What y'all gonna say now? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there now. I'm just saying. GGG good, but poor resume. GGG could afford up to 175 in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I heard he put down Kovalev with a body shot in sparring. I mean, that is sparring. Kovalev can punch like a mule. So that's only sparring, right? But I'm just saying he never fought up to 175. I think the most he ever fought 168. Right? Career 160 pounder, right? I'm just saying nobody went in on Triple G for ducking these guys. Nobody. You know? But they're going on Canelo. They're going on Jamel Charlo. They're quick to go in on Demetrius Andrade. And you know what I mean? They're quick to go in on other fighters, but not Triple G. And I don't like that. That's unfair treatment. This dude had opportunities to face top tier guys, and he turned it down. Okay? He turned it down. All right? And, and the most recent one was Arislandi Lara. He dropped his title. He finally faced Dimitri, what's his guy name? The guy who faced Danny Jacobs and Jamal Charlo. Forgot what his name is right now. The Russian guy. He finally faced him. He dropped his belt because he didn't want to face him, and he finally faced him for the IBF title. This is after Canelo dropped it. I mean, come on, man. And the guy, arguably the guy beat him. You know what I'm saying? He got dropped, but arguably he beat him. I'm just saying, man. Triple G, he overhyped, man. He's just an overhyped guy, and they always protecting him, and it really is annoying to me. I'm just saying. I know Chris Oriol. That was a really good fight. Arislandi Lara versus Triple G would have been a really good fight because, you know, Lara been winning titles all the time. You know, I think he's 2-time or 3-time WBA 154-pound champion. Now he the WBA regular champion. Triple G was the super champion. So Lara was mandated to face Triple G, and Triple G vacated. I mean, come on, man. I don't understand. And they about the same age. Triple G's just 1 year older than Arislandi. I don't understand it, man. It's not like it's a youngin. So, okay, it's a youngin, so I understand. You know, you're old now. You want to get out the game, fine. No. You ain't faced nobody in your career except for 2 guys. You're getting a third A-level fighter. A third A-level fighter. Okay? And what do? You vacate. Before you add to your legacy, you vacate. So all this stuff about Triple G a monster and Triple G this and that and the other, and then look at what you do. What, you don't want to suffer a second, but at least you would have had a third A-level fighter on your record. You know what I'm saying? I don't get this dude. This dude is what it is. Trust me, he would have gotten paid for that. He'd have got paid for that. It is what it is, though. Ghost says Lara earned that fight. Yeah! Lara been avoided for years now. He got robbed in almost every one of his L's. Well, most of them. I mean, Jared Hurd whooped his ass, though. Lara always died to fight. Yeah, he was dying to fight Triple G. When he was at 154, he said he called out Triple G. Instead of Triple G facing him, who'd he face? Willie Monroe. Supposedly Cuban fighter. Dude born in America, all kind of thing. Willie Monroe is not even half the skilled fighter like Arislandi Lara. Come on, man. This was when Triple G was in his prime. Man, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know. And we all know Lara probably would have beaten his ass. He already rich, damn it. Triple G got $100 million off of the zone. Yeah, I hear you. He made his money. He's like, I ain't fighting no damn. Triple G's like, I ain't fighting no damn Arislandi. That's a tough fight. I got paid already. I hear you on that. But I'm just saying, though. The dude ain't got much on his resume at all. But, you know, so this fight is a good fight. And shout out to Caleb and David Benvidez for making it happen. and we're gonna see what'll happen. You know what I'm saying? Casario was like slap. Hey, all I'm saying is Triple G versus GGG know how the sparring went. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Uh, I mean, Triple G is 40 years old, so I mean, Lara's 39 though. You know, they both old. They could have at least given us that fight. You know, both of them would have been paid handsomely. I guess Triple G didn't. He didn't want to suffer another loss. He just came up for a loss. He didn't want to get another loss. You know, or something like that. I don't know what's the deal with the dude, but Carlos Adamas versus all of them. Yeah, Carlos Adamas. Ain't Carlos Adamas facing Ain't he facing who is he facing? J Rock Williams? Is it J Rock Williams versus Carlos Adamas? But GGG still has to fight someone. Come on. Man, 40 is not old. 40 is old. Come on, man. Come on. We getting spoiled in boxing now. You know, you 40 years old fighting still. That's old. For boxing? Oh yeah, that's real old. Well, I'm just saying, Triple G, he's still an elite fighter. He's still a world. Well, he was a world champion. I think I think he has the IBF title. One of them. He still has one of the titles. I think he has the IBF. I don't think he want to face none of those young, strong champions. I don't think he wanted to do. The Lara fight was perfect. You know, the Lara fight was perfect. I don't know why he wasn't up for that, because Lara's coming up in weight. You know, that would have been a perfect fight. Lara might have outclassed him, but I don't see Lara stopping him or anything. You know what I mean? So it would have been a perfect fight for him. But I guess he didn't want to get a second L. I can't wait for Venezuela versus the other dude. Oh yeah, Valenzuela. He gonna be facing who's the guy he facing? He facing not Errol Spence fighter. I want Jamel the Duck Charlo versus Adames too. Jamel or Jamal? Jamel don't duck nobody. Mel don't duck nobody. Mal look like he ducking people. I'm not gonna lie. You talking about Mal? Gotta be Mal. Yeah, it's Mal. Carlos Adames. Okay. Lara been stopping folks recently on a streak. I wouldn't fight him either. Lara not stopping people, but he ain't gonna stop Triple G. We all know that. He ain't stopping Triple G. Ghost. Elmo Colbert. Oh yeah. Chris Colbert. That's right. Chris Colbert versus Carlos Adames. That's right. Jamal has issues. He'll be back. Jamal's gonna be back. Prime time. Jamal. Yeah, Jamal. Yeah. Jamal gonna be back. He gonna be back. Yeah, he call out people like he ain't fighting shit. Call out David. He want to make a fight with a Bivol and David Benvidez, but then he backs down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Maul ain't about it like that. He opened his mouth, say some stuff, but he don't necessarily gonna back it up. Mel, on the other hand, Mel crazy like that. Mel don't play. Mel don't play. I think, which one is the older one? Is it Mal? Mal's the older one, but Mel's the more tenacious one. Mel don't play. Jamel don't play. Jamel don't play. Jamal, yeah. Bugger sugar. That's Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert, he's a cool little dude, man. He's a cool little dude. He funny. Maul need to stop hiding from Demetrius. We've been wanting that. Let's do it this summer. Charlo versus Andre. Andre whoops him. We want Mel versus Andre too. Both of them getting packed. I don't know about Mel, man. I'm telling y'all, Mel got a different mindset, bro. Mel is not Mal's more laid back. You know, Mel's lit all the time. Mel, yeah, Mel don't care. Mel's lit all the time. You know, Mel does everything to win. Mel will do everything to win, and Mel got some pop. Mel got some pop. So I don't know. Maul's more laid back. Mel is not laid back. Mel is not laid back. Mel is willing to take on Costa Zoo tomorrow, even though he got a broken hand. Costa Zoo though impressed me though. Costa Zoo, he be doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna see. Uh, she pushed for that fight. Demetrius sleeps Mel. Oh no. Demetrius does not sleep Mel. Demetrius does not sleep Mel. Are you kidding me? They were supposed to fight actually. Mel and Demetrius were supposed to fight at 154. And Demetrius, he screwed that up. But Mel, nobody sleeps Mel. Mel's too strong for that. Mel's a strong guy, man. Whatever Mel on, my bro, Demetrius is on it too. Mel see Andre, he started barking. The second Demetrius says, "What you gonna do?" He starts stuttering. No, that's Mal. You talking about Mal again? Mel is crazy, man. Mel is crazy. Mel's not Mal. Mal's the guy that backed down from Andre. Mal's the guy that Mal's the guy that when what's the guy? Danny Jacobs was talking. Mal backed down again. Mel's never backed down from nobody. Mel crazy. Mel looked like he lost his marbles. Mel is crazy. Mel is so intense. Mel curses out his own brother. he called. He said about Mal. He said Mal's a chicken for not taking the Canelo fight. Mel crazy. Nah, this is Mel Charlo. Mal stuttered too, but he don't try to start fights with Andre behind the scenes. Mel's the one that Andre was supposed to face. Mal's the one when Andre was trying to make the fight with Mal. Mal's the one that stuttered. Not Mel. Mel don't care. I think Andre tried to make the fight with Mal. Yeah, it's Mal. Because Mal said, you had your chance or whatever, and you blew it. Something like that. But Mel's the guy. Mel's he's like a chihuahua. He's very aggressive. And he kind of aggressive past the normal nature. He's like so aggressive. Matter of fact, last year in Miami, Mel 54-1 tried to start a fight backstage. Demetrius and him got in many situations. Yep. Mel doesn't like Andre. He doesn't. I think Mal is drinking. No, I don't know what's going on with Mal. Jamal, 160 pound, is a business fight. Mel at 54 pound is personal. Yes, for sure. Mel, I tell you, Mel's crazy. Mel's the crazy one. Mal's chill. Mel's crazy. Demetrius said both of them paperwork, and they both said no. No, that's not true. That's not true. No. At 154, Mel was set up to face Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre turned down the fight to sign with Rock Nation. That's why the Charlos, they don't want to give Demetrius Andre any fight. And that's why even Demetrius Andre got blacklisted. Because they had set up the fight to face Charlo. Mel was supposed to face Charlo. And I was looking forward to that fight. Back in, 2015, somewhere there. And Andre just pulled out the fucking fight. And because Rock Nation came on the scene and he wanted to sign a bigger deal with Rock Nation. And that's what fucked up everything. That's why Mel, he does not like Demetrius Andre. That's why they be fighting for so long. Mel does not like Demetrius Andre because it's bad business. Andre did bad. I think that's what got him blacklisted. That's why he can't get no fights. because of what he did to Mel. Mal, on the other hand, is Mel's brother. And anytime Mal would win a fight, Demetrius Andrew would come up to him, and Mal would be like, "Fuck you, bro. Get out of my face," that kind of thing. To me, Mel smokes Boo Boo. I don't know if Mel smokes Boo Boo, but I can tell you, Boo Boo ain't knocking out Mel. That's not happening. I don't think Boo Boo knocks out anybody. Actually, it'd be good fights though. I do have Boo Boo beating Mal, but I'm not sure. Mal doesn't seem confident about nothing right now. He seems as though all his business deals and all the things he's trying to do, because he has his own company and everything, it ain't working out. He hasn't been able to fight the big 160 pounders. He wanted Triple G. He wanted a lot of people. So he's probably depressed because of that. Because he tried to make fights and they just never happened. And I guess he never, I don't know, he got comfortable or something. I don't know what happened. But when it comes to Mel been doing his thing at 154, and Mel been doing his thing. Mel ain't duck or dodge nobody at 154. Win, lose, or draw, he going for it. Ghost says that's not how it went. That's my bro. Andrade accepted the fight. No, he didn't. I told you he didn't sign the fight. He ended up going to try and sign with Rock Nation. That's why Al Heyman and they blacklisted him like that. He did bad business. That fight between Mel and him was supposed to happen. He the reason it didn't happen. He went across the Rock Nation. That's what happened. Okay? Mel wouldn't duck Charlo. Wouldn't duck Andrade. It was set up to fight. It was set up to fight. That's nonsense. Showtime doesn't get paperwork to right back. That's nonsense. All of that's foolishness. Don't let them fool you, Ghost. Showtime sent the paperwork to the right person. He decided he wanted to sign with Rock Nation. I think he was with a company that was kind of holding him back, and then so he decided to sign with Rock Nation, and he didn't sign. He didn't sign the fight. He didn't sign the fight. Or he did sign the fight, and then he pulled out of the fight. I think he pulled out of the fight. That's right. He signed the fight, but he pulled out of the fight for a deal with Rock Nation because he thought he would get more money and stuff, and Rock Nation didn't survive long enough, and he was blackballed from there. So he did sign the fight. The fight was on, and then he broke his contract. Chris Ariel said, back in the day, when you don't like someone, you fight them, damn it. True, but, Canelo was like, I ain't giving Triple G no money. When you don't like somebody, you don't want them to get paid even. You know what I'm saying? Mel gonna get a boxing class if he fight Demetrius Andrade. I don't know about that. Like I said before, Mel can box. He's a better boxer than Demetrius than his brother. Mal do everything off the jab. Mel can do all kinds of things. Mel can do all kinds of things, and he got a little pop. Chris Orio's like, I bet you Ghost. And Mel's determined to win. Like Mel be, especially where he's with Derek Derek I forgot the trainer of Errol Spence. With Errol Spence trainer, yeah. But Mel crazy, man. He a crazy dude. Chris Ariel says, I put 100 on Mel versus Boo Boo. I mean, Boo Boo is a bigger guy, though. He's at 168 now. But yeah, Mel versus Boo Boo, I would love to see that. Obviously, I'd love to see that. Love to see that. They were supposed to fight, so that would be nice. But like I said before, I'm not saying that Boo Boo just blows Mel out of the water, because Mel's a guy that can move himself. He can move, he can box off the back foot, front foot, got a little pop, Andre got a little pop. It'd be a good little fight. Andre a little bit old though. Andre's what, 30, what's he now, 34? He getting up in age, man. I want to see the fights. I agree. Y'all stop it. Tony Harrison was schooling him. Well, I mean, Tony Harrison beat him the first fight. The second fight, he dropped his ass in the second round. You forgot that. You forgot that important detail. Yeah, Tony Harrison was beating him on the inside. He was doing his thing. But, again, it don't mean shit because he knocked him out. I mean, he knocked him out. So it don't mean shit. And the way how he knocked him out was because Tony Harrison was trading hooks with him, right? And Tony Harrison is, is a hell of a fighter. He's a master fighter, but there's a couple things about Tony that look at Costa. Costa got rid of Tony better than Charlo did, right? So you would think, well, Tony, he got rid of. I mean, Costa will beat up Charlo, right? No, that don't mean nothing. You know, it's like Demetrius Andrade is a one of those very difficult boxers, no doubt about it, and he will pull out the stops and do whatever he has to do to win. But let's be real here. You talking about Jamel Charlo, the same kind of guy. Got a lot of experience. This guy's the undisputed champion. Got a lot of experience, fought a lot of styles since they were supposed to fight, and he's prevailed over all of them. So it's gonna be harder. The more experience that Jamel gets, is the harder that fight comes with Demetrius Andrade. Now you can't say that for Mal. Mal don't have that kind of experience that Mel has. Mel has more experience fighting top tier, top level fighters and world champions than both Demetrius Andrade and Mal. So if you ask me, you put Mal against Mel, I got Mel beating Mal any day of the week. Mel bring all kind of things to the table. Mel can lead with his right hand. He could jab. He knows how to step around. He knows how to box. We saw how brilliant he was against what the kid name the Argentinian kid, right? We saw how he did against him in the second fight. He was brilliant in the second fight. You know what I'm saying? No, Mel's something, man. Mel's something. I'm telling you, he's something, and he's getting better and better, and he's got power with it. So no, I don't know what would happen against Andre versus Mel. I know Mel might get beat once by Andre, but he ain't gonna he's not necessarily gonna get beat twice. He make an adjustment. You know what I'm saying? Mel's that kind of fighter. Boy, that boy used to be pretty. I mean, he used to. Once upon a time when I used to see Mel, before he wasn't stopping everybody back then. The Mel can box. He really is a good boxer, but he trying to now get more power out of his shots, and everything's about power. And Derek James is trying to get him to calm down and just box, and yeah, the power come. But Mel's an excellent boxer, excellent boxer. He can box off the back foot like nobody business. That's why I would love to have seen Mel versus Andre back in the day, because I wasn't sure who was going to win. And now, for them to clash at maybe 168 or 160 or catchweight or something, shit, I don't know who will win. I really don't. Mel's a much better boxer than Mal. He can do so many more things than Mal. I'm telling y'all, man. Don't underestimate Mel. Yeah, Mel, he crazy. Mel got a crazy streak in him, but don't get it twisted. Mel can box. He really can. How he set up Tony Harrison to knock him down in the second round of the first fight should have told you that this boy, he know how to set you up. He is a cerebral boxer. And people forget that he's a boxer. He's a counterpuncher too. There's a lot, man. I'm surprised people don't realize. Well, again, Mel, when he went with Derek James, he was known as his knockout artist. But really, Mel do a lot of things, man. He do a lot of things, man. I don't know if he beat Demetrius Andrade outright. But it'd be a competitive fight, I'll tell you that. Ghost said I would love to see Mel versus Mal. I got Mel beating Mal. Mel mess around and lose. Now Mel wouldn't lose to Mal. I hope the fight, even though Mal got a good jab though, I hope the fight with Demetrius happens. Y'all gonna be surprised. I can't make the argument yet, but my boy Demetrius has all-time great time. I know, man. I know Demetrius Andrade can box, man. You don't have to tell me. Southpaw, slick, skilled, got it all. Can fight on the inside, outside. I know. But he's getting old. I'm watching how he's fighting, and he's getting old. But he got to stay active. That's the one thing. At the zone, he was staying more active. He got to stay active. Andre versus Mal, I got Andre. Andre ain't sleeping Mal, though. He not knocking out Mal. But I got Andre beating Mal. Even though I'm not too sure. See, because Mal ain't boxing. Mal ain't fought in a good minute. He ain't fought in a good minute. Those two guys just sitting on the shelf. They got to get those guys active. The older you get is the more active you need to be, or at least preserve yourself. To get a big fight. But yeah, Andre versus Mal, I got Andre. but Amal might shock me. I don't know. Nobody's knocking out anybody. um, and Andre versus Benavidez, I got Andre beating Benavidez. You know, that's food for Andre. Andre skill level is on another level. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's why I said I got Plant beating Benavidez because Benavidez, you know, he good, but he got a lot of experience. He got a lot to learn, and the only way is to get in the ring with seasoned, skilled fighters. If Jamal was to face Benavidez, I had to pick Jamal to win. I know Benavidez big and strong and everything, but I'd have Jamal, but Jamal don't look like he wanna. He say something, but he don't really want to back it up. He could have been the first guy to beat Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a sort of slick style. He not as slick as Caleb, but it's a slick style, and again, he use angles, and there's a science to what he does. Chris Ariel says because male fighting more. We don't know if it doesn't happen. He about to fight again soon. He getting 3 fights this year. I hope so because Andre need to be fighting often. He saw a guy who not supposed to decked him. You know what I'm saying? That ain't supposed to happen with Andre. Andre, he's a sharp fighter, and he's still looking a little sloppy. How he throwing his punches and stuff, and that's because he haven't been fighting often. You know, he need to fight more. Benavidez team said no to Demetrius sadly. Yeah. Demetrius been ducked, like the plague as well. Cause he's a difficult fight for anybody. Canelo ducked him. Gennady Golovkin ducked him. They've been ducking these dudes. The ducking Charlo and ducking Andre. And I don't understand why Charlo don't want to face Andre. Good fight. Love to see how they rumbling. But Charlo don't look like he want to face Andre or whatever. I don't understand. These things are just Mal I'm talking about. Mel don't care. Mel will face anybody, I think. But Mal don't show me that he want to face anybody. He's not showing me that. He's saying one thing, but he's doing another. Demetrius wanted Benavidez as his comeback fight in December 2022. Sampson said no to fight. I know. Yep. I'm friends with Sandor Martin, but I'm a realist. I'm sure he loses to Prograis. Yeah, I hope Reggie's program facing Sandor Martin. Oh man, that's not a good fight for Sandor. But Sandor could move around the ring and stuff. You never know. I don't know if he'll win, but he'll move around the ring at least. I thought Prograis was supposed to face Catterall. I thought Jack Catterall was supposed to face Prograis. What happened to that? It's an undefeated fighter. Them fighters had to fight. Period. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, some people take too much pride in that and they ain't facing nobody. That's the problem. Pisario says Mal Boo Boo fight more often. Hell yeah, Boo Boo should be facing Mal. That's what Boo Boo said. Boo Boo's like, hey man, come on Mal, let's make that fight happen. Regis Prograis versus Subriel Matias. Yeah, that'll be a good fight. I got Regis Prograis knocking out Subriel Matias. Yeah. Chris Ariel says I saw Sandor in the gym. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Sandor, man. Sandor, a good fighter, man. He a good fighter. I thought Teofimo Lopez beat him, but he a good fighter though. He a good fighter. He's working on his volume and pop. Good. That's good. Go said Jack got a signed agreement with Josh Taylor. Josh still owe Jack a fight for sure. Boxer will take legal action if they don't get what contractually agreed upon between Jack and Josh. But they supposed to be facing each other next. Why is Josh Taylor facing Teofimo Lopez? Why is he facing Teofimo Lopez? That's not right. That's wrong. He's supposed to rematch Jack Catterall, but it looked like he don't want to face it. And the other thing, I'm looking at this now. Now Inoue suddenly got an injury. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he want to pull out of that. He want to pull out of that fight with. He want to pull out of that fight with Stephen, what's his name? Stephen Fulton. He don't want to face Fulton no more. Talking about it, too many drug tests. What the hell? Man, these guys not serious, man. I hope Inouye and Fulton. I hope that fight happen. I hope that fight happen because that fight needs to happen. It's a good fight again. Good fight. Yeah. I mean, you lose, you lose. Shit. Take the challenge. Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez won't happen. That's the Joshua versus Fury situation all over again. Just some top rank propaganda. But they got a date though. But Fulton says he waits. Yeah. Fulton says he's gonna wait on Inouye. That's a good fight though. That's a good fight. Now Inouye, I mean, he's a good fighter. Chris Ariel says it's going to happen. Well, I hope so. I hope so. That's a good fight though. I mean, I would have preferred if Naoya Inoue had taken a fight at 122 first, get acclimatized, so then he would take on Stephen Fulton. But I mean, you want to jump up and challenge the unified champ at another weight class? Go for it, brother. Go for it. You know, of course, I pick Fulton to beat him, but Ghost says they had a date for Joshua versus Fury too. Yeah, I remember that. And a done deal in Saudi, as they said. Yeah, I remember that. Tyson Fury don't look like he want to face Alexander Usyk either. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with these guys. Dude, if you lose a fight, you lose a fight. But at least take the fights, man. It's all about entertainment. I hope that Rais Alim gets a shot at Fulton. Who's Rais Alim? I've been knowing Rais for like 5 years. He's been calling out Fulton for as long as I can remember. Okay. Who is Rais Alim? First time I'm hearing about this guy. Who's Rais Alim? Who's that dude? Never heard of him. Care to educate us on him? You said you know him? What has he done in the sport? Obviously he never won a championship. Is he a contender in the WBA or WBC? What where is he? What status is he at? You said in 5 years' time? How's he gonna do it in 5 years' time? I know Stephen Fulton's moving up to super featherweight. Not super featherweight, to featherweight very soon. Probably after this fight or after the fight with MJ. If he could become undisputed. Rais Salim is the number one super bantamweight fighter today. He's ranked top 3 across the board. He's Fulton's mandatory for the what title? And also MJ's Mando too. Okay. Number 122 pounder. What sanctioning bodies do you know? Well, I hope he gets a shot then, if that's the case. No, not in 5 years' time. I have known him for 5, and he's been calling out for them for the last 5 years. All right, well, young fighters, they call out guys. They call WBO. Okay. And with MJ, what is he? WBA or something? I'm gonna check him out. If he need to get his mandatory against Stephen Fulton, so be it. That's if Fulton stays at 122. He might move up to 130 because he getting big. He's hanging around to try and unify with MJ, and he's hanging around to unify with MJ and Inoue. The Inoue fight at MJ. That's about it. And I think he's gonna move up because he got this fight with Brandon Figueroa. Remember? So I don't know. My boy might not get him at 122. He might get him later on. Maybe if he moves up in weight. I don't think he's going. I mean, you gotta understand there's levels in boxing, right? This dude be fighting world champions now, right? He faced so many undefeated fighters. So think about this. I mean, he could defend his title. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, he might give the you might give Ali a bly, you know what I'm saying, or you give him a chance to win the titles, especially if he become undisputed. Give him a shot and then move up. That's if he can maintain his weight, or he got to go up. Because Fulton's a guy look like he might do something like that. He might say, you know what, let me give this young buck a chance. But think about this: Brandon Figueroa fight at 130, right? You got MJ to unify to become undisputed, and you got Inui, former undisputed champion at 118, coming up to face you. Now, why would I face? I'm just saying. Why would I face this young buck who contender? He deserves a shot, but why would I face him over those guys though? I'm just saying. You understand what I'm saying? There's levels to the sport of boxing. Now, you don't want Stephen Fulton holding my boy, holding the belts hostage, and of course Fulton don't want to look like he ducking or dodging nobody. So I could see Fulton maybe saying he beats Inui, maybe gets a fight with MJ, or if he don't get the unification fight with MJ, might just fight your boy Ali. He might. You never know. But he got a Brandon Figueroa fight waiting on him as well. That looked like that was going to happen as well. Right? And Figueroa, if I'm not mistaken, Figueroa beat his last opponent. I think he did. So that's a fight waiting, because Figueroa want to get his get back on Fulton. So I'm just saying, there's all these fights for Fulton, which are big money fights and prominent fights with guys who have already accomplished things in boxing. My boy Alim, he definitely will get his shot. He's going to get his title shot, but the question is, will he get it against Fulton? I don't know. That's the question. I'm not saying he doesn't. Fulton's a guy that he might just entertain that notion and take that fight with Alim. So you never know. Check out Rai's body. He been fighting the same competition Fulton has. He been destroying him. That's good for him, man. Good for him. I'm glad. I mean, that's good. That builds up his resume. That gives us a chance to look forward to that fight against Fulton, right? So that's good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Savage fight, yeah. Matthias is crazy. Yeah, Matthias is crazy, but he not reaches pro grade level. He's strong and everything, but he got hit too much. Pro grade would put him to sleep. Pro grade got concussive power. You know what I'm saying? He sleep, fools. Those undefeated fighters on Fulton's resume not looking all good if you talk about what they did after Fulton's loss. Some of them racking up L's against random journeymen. I don't know about that. Angelo Leo. What's going on with Angelo Leo? Y'all know? Brandon Figueroa. Undefeated fighter. I don't see him racking up any losses. My boy, Adam, what's his name? Adam Lopez. Hector Lopez's son. Very good fighter still. I mean, he went up in weight to face a guy, what's the kid named that faced Shakur Stevenson, the Mexican kid, who they caught doping. He fought him. He gave him a good fight. Dropped the guy, all kind of thing. I mean, Adam Lopez is a hell of a fighter still. He might have gotten some losses, but I mean, you can't just, these are good fighters. All right. I mean, what I'm trying to say is they're guys who, on their way to championships, they fighting guys with losing records. I mean, losing records, right? They're fighting bum of the month. That's not Stephen Fulton. For him, getting into the championship, he was fighting undefeated fighters, which is totally different to fighting fighters who have multiple losses on their record and mostly been losing. You understand? They putting you in with gradually, guys who gradually helping you to move up in different levels. Fulton was facing young undefeated guys who, was, you know, never faced professional defeat and be giving it their all. They didn't know what it was to lose. So there's something to that. I mean, okay, it's different when you've reached championship status and you're facing undefeated fighters who are green and who nowhere near on your level. That's totally different. But as you're on the come up and you're not a world champion yet, and you're facing guys with similar amount of fights as you, right? Similar amount of experience as you, and that's a much more challenging thing than getting a custom made guy, just a body in there to beat up. You understand? So I think Fulton came up the hard way in that respect. Now it's a different thing when I hear, "Oh, this guy he faced an undefeated fighter." Okay, and the guy's a world champion already. He been like a world champion, had a number of defenses, and he facing an undefeated fighter. Instead of facing maybe another world champion or a guy who's a former world champion, guys with experience, guys on his level. You get what I'm saying? Because there's levels to the sport of boxing. And I think a lot of people don't understand when we say there's levels to the sport of boxing. We're talking about when you fighting fighters and you're on the come up, you are a prospect or you are novice or you are debutante or you are contender. When you are novice, you face novices. When you are prospect, you face prospects. When you are contender, you face contenders. We don't want a contender facing a novice. We don't want a contender facing. Sometimes you face a gatekeeper, right? Sometimes you face a journeyman at the contender level. You understand what I'm saying? Well, mostly gatekeepers. You don't face journeymen. Journeyman is for like prospects, right? Because prospects gain knowledge and experience off of journeymen, right? So there's different levels. So him facing undefeated fighters while he's a prospect, and even while he's a contender facing undefeated contenders like himself, that's actually more challenging sometimes than facing an experienced guy who you get some experience from him, some of the veteran moves or whatever, but he already know what defeat tastes like, or even more so, he been defeated a lot of times. So he just put in the ring to give you experience. That's it. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot, like I said before, a lot of people don't understand boxing, so they kind of cite things. But you got to understand that is what level you are at. You should be facing somebody at that level or above. That's how you progress in boxing. Sando had to wait almost 40 fights to fight a title. Yeah, when man, you gotta go through so many hoops and so many sanctioning bodies and all kinds of shit. But he got his shot though, and he got a future Hall of Famer on his resume that he beat. He beat Mikey Garcia. That's a hell of a thing, right? Accomplishment right there. What would be who been saying this though, Ghost? You gotta understand, Ness from the Boxing Voice, he don't like Stephen Fulton, okay? Because Stephen Fulton didn't give him no interview. He also don't like Errol Spence. When you hear Ness from the Boxing Voice saying these kinds of things about Stephen Fulton, he full of shit, okay? Because if Ness was looking at Stephen Fulton's resume, Stephen Fulton has faced 3 world champions: Brandon Figueroa, Angelo Leo, and the Mexican kid who fought MJ, right? And Ness been trying to trash the Mexican kid, right? Because he can't trash Brandon Figueroa. He can't trash him, okay? He can't trash Angelo Leo. Angelo Leo is a solid fighter. Okay, Angelo Leo is a solid fighter, right? And Ness be like, well, you think Angelo Leo will become world champion again? Motherfucker, shut your fucking ass mouth. Stop being an ass. He been a world champion. That's the important thing. You think it's easy to become a world champion? A bona fide. Now, I'm not talking about no secondary world champion, some secondary title. I'm talking about the real world title. Okay? So he beat him. All right? In a very competitive, fighting Angelo Leo's fight, he fought him on the inside. Stephen Fulton, up to that point, been fighting guys on the outside and stuff, and showed he's versatile. He's versatile. Y'all don't see this. Like I said, there's a lot to boxing. All right. You look at the fighters that Stephen Fulton fought. They're all good fighters. Some of them are boxers. Some of them are punchers, right? Some of them are southpaws. He fought southpaws. He got a lot of experience, and they didn't put him in with easy fights. These were 50-50 fights all the way up. Y'all understand what I'm saying? To prove himself. Okay? He didn't have no bums. He didn't. If you look at his resume, he ain't fought no bums. What I mean by that is guys like Journeyman and shit. He even got that on his resume. Right? You look at the experience level, they were comparable. It's the skills that separated Stephen Fulton from these guys. Up to Brandon Figueroa, been mowing down everybody. Stephen took him on, beat him. You know why MJ ain't been in the ring with Stephen Fulton? And MJ be fighting cab drivers time and time. I'm sorry about the cab drivers. No disrespect. MJ been fighting guys that are custom made for him since his fight with the Mexican guy, where he won by split decision. Is because he being bred and groomed along. Stephen Fulton, on the other hand, hasn't been bred and groomed along. That's why we know Stephen Fulton could whoop Inoue Inui's ass. Because Inoue Inui, he went through an entire division where he didn't face the high rollers. Yeah, he beat Navarez at super flyweight, but he didn't face Estrada. He didn't face Chocolatito. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay? He just faced the big guy there and he skipped on, right? That never happened with Stephen Fulton. So, you know, don't listen to that guy called Ness. Ness, he don't like Stephen Fulton because Stephen Fulton didn't give him the interview. Errol Spence disrespected him because he disrespected Errol Spence, so he don't like Errol Spence. So when you hear Ness from the Boxing Boys talking, take it with a pinch of salt. What he be saying. Right? The Mexican guy, by the way, was two-time world champion. Okay? I can't remember his name right now. It's slipping my mind. And he was unified world champion when he fought MJ. MJ beat him by a split decision. Okay? Mexican guy became two-time world champion because he beat I forgot the guy's name right now. Right? That Mexican guy can fight. He can fight. He's just not on Stephen Fulton's level. But he could fight his ass off. And I think he beat, I think it's 3 or 4 former world champions. That Mexican dude. Very dominant guy for a pretty long time. I know because I used to follow the divisions. And bantamweight is one, and super bantamweight is one of the divisions I follow. And he's been dominant for a while. I think it was 4 or 5 years, this dude. Nobody wanted to really face him, who was known in the super bantamweight division. All them Japanese guys was avoiding him. He beat a Japanese champion too. I can't remember what the guy's name is. He beat a Japanese champion to win one of the titles. Then he picked up the other title from another guy, a Mexican guy. Went all the way to Japan to do that. So when Ness talks, just sometimes you need to filter some of the shit that some people say. I agree with Ness on certain things, but on other things, I just don't agree with him because I know he has a bias. Okay? So just bear that in mind. Okay? Stephen Fulton is as bona fide as they come. All right? Also, just for the record, just want to put it out there. MJ ain't done much. He ain't been fighting nobody. Okay? Stephen Fulton be fighting people. All right? And he be matched tough. And they match him tough because guess what? Before Jerome Ennis was known as a big name in Philadelphia, Stephen Fulton be running the shit. Okay? He been the dude. In fact, Stephen Fulton spars Jerome Ennis. Did y'all know that? He spars. Yes, that's right. Jerome Ennis spars Stephen Fulton. They get that work in. Okay? So, those people out there that don't know what it is and who Stephen Fulton is, they're going to know if he faces Naoya Inoue. Because he is the goods. He is the goods. And he's proven it time and time again. All right? That's one of my favorite fighters, actually. Y'all been talking. Oh, Reese Alim versus Vic Casillas. That's a good introduction fight to Reese. That'll be good. I don't know who that is, but I don't know none of them guys. I couldn't play with the best when I was a baby. They laughed at me. They thought I was ducking. I was wrong. I don't watch that guy. To me, he don't know enough about boxing. He been talking mad reckless to Demetrius until Demetrius went and checked him. Robisi is the man. Robi Rub Rabisi gonna show y'all something special this coming fight. He's in amazing shape. I saw him spar a while back. He's so damn educated. He's something else. Bro, you love what he does this time around. This camp, he's focused on boxing, not just sleeping dudes. You saw him, Ghost? I envy you. Yes, sir. I'll be around those gyms. You look so good. I'm over here in Europe. Okay. I wish to watch those practices, man. That Camp and Larry Wade are a great combination. I can't see anyone beating him at 26. What's crazy is at 126 is like 3 to 4 pounds away from his walk around weight. Oh shit. He stay on weight. Watching Ramirez has to be otherworldly, no? Damn. Bro, the talent is different. He's very educated. My boy Spence is supposed to Spencer. Isn't he facing he's supposed to be facing this weekend. He's supposed to be facing uh he's supposed to be facing help me out here. Joey Spencer is facing who this weekend? On the undercard of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. That's a good fight actually. Joey Spencer versus shit, I forgot his name. How could I forget his name? The Cuban fighter, what you need, we be talking. Oh, that's who that's who Robisi is? He's Cuban? Yo, I gotta see him. I still missing these guys, man. We be talking. Carlos Adames about to surprise y'all too. I feel bad for J Rock. They doing J Rock so dirty. Where you from, Ghost? Jesus Ramos, that's the name. Yeah, Jesus Ramos supposed to be facing Joey Spencer. That could be a good fight, man. That's a good fight right there. J Rock. He's from New York, but I be traveling, bro. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yay, I'm almost spending 2 hours on this thing. So I'm gonna get off of here. I just wanted to talk about Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. Success to you guys on your picks. If you pick David Benavidez, that's cool. Because like I said before, there are a lot of variables. So I mean, I can't rule out David Benavidez winning the fight. He been winning every single fight, and he be rumbling, and he on a roll. His confidence is high. So I mean, you can't rule him out. I'm just saying, I think Caleb Plant gonna win if if he do what he's supposed to do. He should win the fight, but you never know. You never know. So we'll see. Uh, have a good one, guys. I'm out of here. Shout out to Ghost. Shout out to Chris Oreo for making this discussion more than I expected it to be. I was just gonna take about 30 minutes, and that would have been it. But we've kind of gone way past that to almost 2 hours. So y'all have a blessed one. Uh, I'm gonna check out that Cuban fighter y'all guys talked about, Robisi. Was it Robisi Ramirez? Yeah, but Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer, that's gonna be a treat. That's a fight y'all should not miss on the undercard of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. Those are great. Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez is a great fight, and Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer is a great fight, hands down. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. Ramirez, yeah, Robisi Ramirez. I'm gonna check him out. Cuban, okay. At 120, 120. What is he? 126. He's featherweight. I gotta watch out for this. He's featherweight. Yeah, and Golden Boy got a good fighter on there. I get the kid's name is Floyd something. He fight with he switches stances. He fights southpaw. He fight orthodox. I thought that was quite interesting. Featherweight. Okay, cool. Featherweight. All right, man. Ghost. All right, Chris Oreo. Shout out to the next viewer there. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I just wanted to break it down. This is why I picked Caleb Plant to win. You guys can go. Those of you who haven't seen this, it was a live stream. You can go back and check out what I said. And as to these other brothers who are very educated in boxing, I just want to say to them, also enjoy the boxing, enjoy the fights. Um, when I can do breakdown videos, I'll try and do it. For those of you who don't know, I also have a PayPal you can donate to. I'll probably try and put it up when the videos put up or whatever. I'm gonna catch you guys later. May the best man win. Yes, but I talk about. I would have to talk about that. Jesus Ramos too. Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer. That's gonna be a good fight. That's another good one. That's another good one. All right, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.